Nickelodeon Kart Racers. Vroom vroom. This game was cool. When I first saw it, I had to get it because I never really got into Nickelodeon games. I mean, what ones are there really besides like the SpongeBob games? And even those I kind of fell off the radar for. I did play one of them a while ago. I don't even think I finished it. But, so, I played this because I was kind of longing for some Nickelodeon games. SpongeBob is like the only one I actually like. They're all good, or most of them, but it's always been about the sponge. So this is kind of my way to like connect with him. Instead of like just watching the show and ha ha ha. So that was one thing to get out of this immediately. But yeah, there's just not enough of them. Even if I found more, which the only Nick games I can imagine that actually do well or get made at all would revolve around SpongeBob. He's basically their official mascot. It's always kind of been that way. And the kart racer thing. I didn't get into like the new Mario Kart. The only good one, the only one I actually played was N64. And I swore I owned that at one point, but I think it got taken from me or like misplaced. I don't even know, but so yeah, but I mostly played it with like friends at their house or something. So it was a combination of like, you know, not enough Nickelodeon stuff, not enough kart racer stuff. I did play Diddy Kong Racing, which was fun. I played a lot of that. It's probably the one game I had the most playtime in for a kart racer. I always wanted to try Sonic Team Racing and Crash Bandicoot Team Racing, but just never got into those. And like I saw footage and stuff of them and they look fun. I don't even really like Sonic, but I guess more so the Crash Team Racing, because at least there's like a goofy side to it and it just makes sense, and like, you know, that's what makes it kind of fun. But I don't really look at Crash that way either. I look at Crash as like Crash Bandicoot, the games. I don't really look at the side stuff like that. With Sonic, maybe even then there's a little bit more breathing room because they kind of do a little bit of everything anyway, which is arguable with Crash as well. Either way, like, so it was also a combination of not playing those games as well. And like every time I'd want to get them, I just never get them. I don't even have a Switch to play Mario if I wanted to, because I just don't really like Nintendo Switches. So when I found this game, there's just too many reasons to get it, and I wasn't expecting a lot, but it was actually a lot better than I thought. It's just really fun, really colorful, really vibrant, good music. The music was a bop. I could listen to that seriously on like an hour loop so easily. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Obviously, the actual version is a lot better than that. It's that bass guitar, man, and the melody, like, such a banger theme song went into such a small, little, kind of cheap, random game that was out there. So instantly I was like hooked. I was like, dude, this is catchy. I don't think I caught onto it at first, but it definitely took a while. It's like, bro, this music is dank. Like, even if the game itself fell short for me, the music would have kind of made up for it, I guess. Yeah, and it was also made by Game Mill Entertainment or Game Mill Studios. And surprisingly, I've actually come across a few of their games. They do like licensed stuff and remakes, and their games are very subpar. I've already kind of gotten into that before. But I think what they did well here was that they took something familiar, Nickelodeon. It's a kids game. It's affordable. It's cheap. It's budget friendly. It's just fun. You get to take the vibe of Nickelodeon, and it works here so well because it's not. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's just goofy and wacky and a good time, and that's kind of how kart races are supposed to be. I think like Mario, as fun as this is why everyone thinks of the 64 version, is because it still was what it was, but it was on such an old console, and it's so arcadey and kind of like we don't take it seriously nowadays. It's kind of hard to do that. And like, honestly, even if I had a Switch and had access to the newest Mario Kart, what is it, 8 Deluxe or something? I don't even know. But I've seen gameplay of that, and it just looks so like, dude, there's a lot of detail, a lot of things going on, way too many things happening. Online mode. Just kind of messy and chaotic and crazy, and that's, I assume, the appealing thing of it. All these stages and blah 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 blah. But even Mario, it's like, I like the characters, but I've never really been into Mario. I've never really, like, other than Mario 64. I'm only comparing these games because I'm looking at kind of kart racers as a whole. And like, if I had to choose between this or Mario Kart, I would choose this. Granted, like, okay, I've had access to this game. It was available to me, it was cheap, it was fun. So I can't really speak for Mario, but even I just kind of know, I just have that feeling. Because I think the formula for kart racers in general, this game nailed it. I think Mario Kart got so big and kept going for so long and had all these sequels or whatever, and it just, that's all it kind of became, was like, hey, this is Mario Kart, and it just kept on going, getting better and bigger. This was such a great way to like just kind of go back to the basics, go back to what kind of made it fun in the first place. Because like, dude, if I'm gonna play a racing game, I'm gonna just play Need for Speed. Okay, there's like a more serious, well, I wouldn't call NFS like a serious game, but like if I'm gonna play a racer game, that's what I'll go to. When I just want to like kind of race and drive and have a little bit of fun at the same time, without dealing with like cops chasing me. And you know, racing games are such a chore, and they can be intimidating, and not everyone's going to be into stuff like that for those reasons. Or maybe they'll play it here and there or try it out, but that's about all it will kind of go to. This game, dude, I played easy, normal, hard. I did every level. Like, it was fun. I had wanted to actually grind it. I wanted more of it. It was actually like a good time. And there's very few games that actually kind of give me that stimulation of like, I like this enough to the point where I'm willing to go a little bit further and put in a little bit more effort. Go a little harder, put in some extra. And this game's well deserved. There's so much content, there's so many levels, there's so much customization of the carts, there's so many characters. I only really stuck to SpongeBob. I tried some of the other ones out. They all have like their unique kind of special abilities, and it's really cool when you play your favorite character with your favorite cart. You can put all the pieces together. You unlock the best stuff later. I only really go into games like this deep when I'm like really like enthusiastic about it. So yeah, eventually like you get all the parts. It is kind of up to you to determine like, you know, hey, these are all the best parts and they do work the best together. But if you want to be specific and think about the track itself, get to know the tracks, you can do that. If you're a little bit more into like the really nitty-gritty stuff, I mean, it's there. I really don't care for stuff like that, but just give me the best and I'm happy. But yeah, but it's really cool when you can play your character in the levels that they belong into, because it's just so fitting. Like, hey, this is kind of my domain, my territory. Because as much as it is about the carts and the racers and the music, and a lot of it really is the stages too. I think the stages kind of really steal the show. Because that's where you're spending all this time in, rummaging around, going through these hoops and obstacles. And one thing I don't know very well is the shortcuts. I'm really bad with shortcuts. Just let me race and beat them and not take the easy way. Well, I wouldn't call it the easy way out because you have to go out of your way. And normally I'm about the easy way out. But the fact that like shortcuts can take a little bit more effort and you have to know where they are and risk taking them, I just don't even bother. Because like, dude, if I can like beat the game without taking shortcuts, if I can still win, that's pretty impressive. I like that like underdog feeling of like, you know, let me play by the book, but if I can still beat you at your own game kind of thing, all the more power to me. So thankfully I didn't have to ever depend on shortcuts, but it is a thing. And like, if I see a shortcut, if it's noticeable or obvious enough, I'll take it. But like, everyone has a different way of racing. Everyone kind of has their own mindset and strategy, and you know, my thinking is like, just let me go fast, let me go straight, let me go forward, let me win. Be the best, be the fastest. Let me just win out of sheer like skill and strength and you know, how do I tackle my path direction in the road? How do I tackle getting in front of these other racers? You know, how do I utilize the weapons and abilities and upgrades that I have? Like, it all kind of comes together. So it's really nice kind of coming out on top, but like righteously, doing it the right way. I don't know, that's just like my spiel on like shortcuts, because I know like Mario Kart was also kind of I don't think you'll see as many shortcuts and like exploits and glitches and cheeses nowadays with a lot of games. But that was a big thing for a while, just kind of like this experimental age where, you know, if you want to take that way out, go ahead. I wouldn't even call it the easy way out because that's kind of a broad definition. Like, if I want to take, there's a way to go about it the right way and there's a way to not go about it the right way.
Oops. I guess I ripped my
And
pants
I don't know.
again.
Like, ultimately, you want the shortcuts, you want to be better at the best at the game possible. I didn't take this game too seriously. Like, I wanted to have a little bit more time with it and stuff, but I wasn't about to be like, oh, you know, this is gonna be like my game of choice or anything. Like, I like it, not that much. But, yeah, there's all that. But yeah, my favorite level was Glove World. And, I think it was kind of the more fun, more lit up, kind of like it's like my version of Rainbow Road for Mario Kart, because there's always going to be that one stage that kind of stands out a little bit more than others.
Coolest party.
That's kind of just my pick. But I guess it's what you're more biased towards too. Like, do you like Rugrats more? Do you like, Hey Arnold? I mean, they have the basics, the good ones, right? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which to me was like, it's cool that they're there, but you ultimately had 4 of the same characters. It's just kind of a waste of the roster. Yeah, like Patrick's up in here.
Oops. I guess I ripped my pants again.
Like, there's more. I just can't really think of them on the top of my head. But yeah, I mean, with this game particularly, you'll be able to find someone that you like. Oh yeah, well yeah, Rugrats, there's I think Reptar is even a playable guy, which is kind of cool. There's always got to be like one big guy. Like, what can make up a kart racing game? It's all here. You know, Reptar is basically Bowser. I would consider SpongeBob as Mario. I mean, it's a Mario Kart clone. Like, Mario Kart is always going to be the king and like the first ones of what they were doing and established this genre. So like, I'm definitely not hating Mario Kart or like trying to dismiss it or whatever, but I just like this so much more. And with Mario Kart, it was pretty much just that. With here, there's the slime. Your kart transforms into a boat. It's really cool. The water levels are really fun. They're not like, and it's goopy slime. That's what makes it cool too. Is it's not just water. It's not like, it really felt like you were in this substance. You were living.
Guess I ripped my pants again.
They did so well of incorporating the slime into the game, because the slime is Nickelodeon's thing. I don't know about nowadays, like, I don't know where Nick is with all that right now, but I mean, that's what they used to be. That's what I grew up with. That's what I'm familiar with. Like, when I see green ooze, I think of Nickelodeon. Granted, I think of a couple other things, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers. But, yeah, the slime was fun. That's how you get your turbo, collect all the coins. That's how you unlock parts for carts and stuff. And so yeah, between the slime and the kart racing and the flying, because you're like flying across like a bridge or like a gap. Dude, that's fun, man. When you could like have those different things in there, that's what can really change it up and mix it up. It's not just kart racing. It's not just that's what I'm saying. They didn't take itself too seriously. And I really connected with this because the only other comparable game I've played like this was Diddy Kong Racing, and they did the same thing in Diddy Kong, basically. There's just a lot of variety. And I think you kind of, even though I stuck to very specific things throughout, I really enjoyed that variety, or at least like throughout the game. And then once I stuck to what I liked and was familiar with, and my way of winning and getting through, at least I was able to get to that point. But yeah, even the power-ups are fun. They're all power-ups from, or abilities, weapons. There's like defense, offense, and they're all from like the other characters. They're all like familiar things you can connect them with so easily. Because every show has like kind of their iconic... You see like one image. Like everything in this game screams Nickelodeon and its whole franchise, and it really knows what it's trying to do and go about doing. And for someone like me, I can really respect that once again, because it's like I'm just... It's just nice to see that, like, you know, even though I don't have the kind of strengths of like kind of knowing what's what and where and when and why, at least I know that there's like things out there and people out there that kind of just know things, and I don't know, it's inspiring. Yeah, there's good music throughout each level as well. I wouldn't say the music levels are nearly as good as the main theme song that they have at the beginning of the the menu. I know there's a multiplayer mode as well. I don't know how it works. I'm not sure if that means... I didn't look into it too much. I kind of doubt it's an online thing, because you're thinking servers and stuff as well. I don't know. It might just be like a couch co-op thing. Or not co-op, but just like a, you know, have your friends over maybe. That's what I'm guessing it is. And that would make the most sense too, because like it is a family-based game. It's for kids. You know, you can play with your kiddo, or, you know, vice versa. It'd be a fun family game. And yeah, you just race with your friend, your girlfriend, whatever, and if you want to do that, it's like a fun game to turn on, but you're not like committing to it too much. You're not like...
Oops. I guess I ripped my pants again.
You know, it's nice to just have. It's only like a few gigs or something, if that. It's just such a good purchase. It's such a nice investment, and compared to what I mostly play, this is such a nice change of pace to kind of mix it up, because I'm so used to like these overpriced, expensive AAA overdone games that may or may not even be that good, or they have problems and they're trying to do too much with too little, and takes up too much space, yada yada. I've been bending over backwards to play so much of what I just have lately, and this is one of those games that was nice to actually get a refresher on and be like, I'm just having a good time. This, from the second I turn it on to the second I stop playing, I'm just like in a better place. Nothing can kind of get me down. Nothing can bug me, bother me, especially like in a live stream environment. You know, I'm just sitting there chilling, doing my thing, and having a good time. There's really not much you can ask for doing stuff like that. You know, and obviously, like, hey, I'm trying to win and, like, you know, do good and Because it's definitely not a game where you have to bend over. You don't have to do too much. Like, if you just want to simply kind of beat all the levels, the cups, you want to get 3 stars, there's a star system again. Definitely doable for just, you know, anyone. And as a casual player myself, it just kind of, I get like that satisfaction, but I'm not like, you know, suffering or in pain, or it's just, it's nice. Yeah, this game was good. The gameplay was just really fun. And I'm glad I came across this. It really gave me that fix of like, you know, not only comparing it to just AAA games in general, but just like Need for Speed, for example. I've spent hundreds of hours in that game. If I were to compare this to a racing game of my choice, I mean, screw the fucking racing sim games. I will never touch those. That's too much. But at least here it was just like so nice to, like, you know, I'm not stressed out really. There's some close calls. It's still a hard game. Like, I'm not saying it's necessarily easy. Like, okay, I'm not really, I don't really glorify difficulties. But with this game, if you do easy, normal, hard, you are gonna see a very significant difference between the level different modes. What? Dude, just thinking of difficulty just makes my brain hurt. But yeah, it's kind of scary. It was almost to a point where like it was too obvious. Like, you know, you're feeling confident, you're doing your thing, even if you were to just go the normal route at first or whatever, and you haven't even touched the other modes yet. And that's what I did too, was like, you know, hey, just because this is like an easy looking game, I'm not gonna just assume, I can't just assume that it's easy either. Because that's how they get you too. They're like, oh, it's a kid's game, it's fun, go ahead. It's not an old game, but like, you get to a point in life where you don't really take games, you don't give them the credit enough, where like, you think they're kind of a joke and like, oh, it'll be easy, it'll be fun, they're old, or for kids or whatever. That's not really the case, man, because the thing is here, like, they know that adults can play this too. Anyone and everyone has access to it, so they can't just automatically make this into a kids game, even if they wanted to. It has to cater to adults and stuff too. It's just the rules. But yeah, you're gonna go to these other modes and then you're gonna be like, damn, I'm getting my butt whooped, dude. Like, I'm actually gonna have to like give a shit and try and you know, do I have to go out of my way completely to play this way? No, but I am gonna have to like actually focus and like sit there and just give a shit and try. It's like, normally I don't output my energy levels too much because it's not worth it. I'm kind of like a Super Saiyan in that way. Like, dude, if you make me go over 9,000, I will, but if I do not have to, I won't. I preserve my energy levels and I save it for what's important and what matters. And this is a game where I had to kind of but if anything, you might have to activate your Super Saiyan mode, but you won't have to like kind of go beyond that, I guess. It's not like we're going what is it, ×3 Super Saiyan I think at a steady 9K, you'll be pretty good, but that's probably about as far as you're gonna have to push. I don't see how you'd have to be able to push further than that. I'm just assuming that's a good comparison to relate to. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it is pretty straightforward. It's exactly what you'd expect. It's a kart racing game, Nickelodeon, slime, ooze. I think the green slime's funny because like their logo is orange, but they're all about kind of the green. I wonder what the process was there. Were they wanting green at first? It can be green if you want to alternate it that way. But were they just like, maybe that's too close to home or what we're trying to like do out here? Let's just go with orange? I don't know. I'm glad they went with orange. It works. When I think of like orange, I think of Nickelodeon. It's like the name Nick or something. I don't know. It's weird. But that's one thing that Nickelodeon's always done pretty well too. Is just like the color scheme, like compared to like Disney or Cartoon Network, or they've had a formula for so many years and they stuck with it, and I give them a lot of credit for that. They didn't really. It's always kind of been what it's always been, and they've never really done anything too dramatic to change any of that up. Not to mention, another side note, like playing this game, Nickelodeon, all those reasons I gave earlier. Another cool thing about this was like, you know, when they're coming out with those random SpongeBob movies every so often, that's just more incentive to play this game. That's just more things revolved around when music or not, when movies and games can work in tandem with each other. Like, oh, this movie's coming out, play this game. This game's coming out, watch this movie. Or a TV show, or... You can kind of throw music into that if you really want to. But yeah, it's so cool too, because like... I want to say around when this came out, I was also watching like new SpongeBob movies that were coming out. And just lately... Like, dude, we're thinking like... past 5 years maybe, they've been coming out with a lot of SpongeBob stuff. Like, it's pretty wild.
I guess I ripped my pants again.
And maybe I'll also get to where I'm trying to kind of check out the newer SpongeBob episodes as well. Like, I don't think it's fair to only revolve SpongeBob around this, because obviously there are other franchises that deserve their praise, and I like Rugrats. I grew up with Rugrats, watched the movies, Reptar. I even saw their collab with the Wild Thornberries, whatever. Like, dude, I love all of it. I love the live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't know so much about the cartoons, but I saw those 100 times. It's weird though, when I think of TMNT, I don't really associate them with Nickelodeon per se, but it's kind of like a more branched off franchise that they just happen to have or license. I don't know. But yeah, you can't beat SpongeBob because he's kind of the king. He's hilarious. I can watch it all day, every day. I don't so much nowadays, and it's not really by choice or anything. It's just kind of, you know, how things are. But yeah, back then I definitely would have been able to watch him a lot more often than now. But yeah, Nickelodeon Kart Racer. Whoop whoop.